Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is Robert Budd, and you are listening to The Robert Budd Show. I want to, first of all, thank you so much for tuning in. If you are a return listener, thank you so much for coming back and listening for more. And if you are a brand new listener, it's your first time listening, thank you so much for tuning in. And I consider my job in these podcasts to just have a conversation with usually the people that I know that are in my community that I want to know a little bit more about and dig in such that maybe they divulge things that surprise others about them, maybe some hidden facts about them that, where they grew up, how they grew up, their mentors, whether they're an introvert and they walk around this world extroverted, whatever that might be. I like to dig in and find out, and hopefully we'll get some nuggets that you can take away with you and use in your life, implement in your life, maybe their daily habits or their drive or inspiration or something. I really want to contribute to everybody involved. So today we have on the show Zac Armstrong. And Zac is a studio manager currently at Edge Fitness in San Marcos. And he is a coach, a teacher of teachers. He's a yoga instructor. He's a kettlebell instructor. He considers himself a Google Calendar teacher. That's kind of funny. And he's also taught anatomy for teacher training for yoga in this country and outside of the country. So we dig in a little bit about where he comes from, what's influenced him, the major changes that he's done in his life, and the success story that he is, especially with his weight loss, is pretty crazy that I didn't know about. All right, so without further ado, here is Zac. Oh, also, one more thing. If you like this show, please share it. Forgot to add this. People always say, why don't you ask people to share your show? I forget. So anyways, I'm not forgetting. If you like it, share it with a friend. I really appreciate it. If you subscribe, that's how we're found. And I typically don't ask for anything, but I'm asking for this thing just to keep it rolling, keep it going, and share with others. Anyways, so with that being said, here is Zac. First thing that I always ask people is for a sound check is, what did you have for breakfast?
2 cups of bulletproof coffee.
That's it?
Yeah.
2 cups, that's a pretty good amount, dude. I'd get you full for a little while. Is
Yeah.
it back-to-back or is it spread out?
Pretty much back-to-back from between 4:30 and 5:30. So
And
like
do
an hour.
you make it yourself? Do you do any kind of what exactly? Because there's the supplement that you can get from Bulletproof now. It's the coffee. It's all the mixture together. It's the ghee and all that.
That just doesn't taste the same.
What do you do?
So I do whatever Costco coffee.
Yeah.
I grind it, coffee pot. I use the Left Coast MCT oil. I don't know, half the price of the bulletproof stuff. And Kerrygold butter and a little bit of cinnamon. Throw it in the blender and go.
Cool.
Yeah. So I usually do 2 of those every morning.
No cream.
No,
Nothing.
just the oil, the butter, and the cinnamon.
Oh, why the cinnamon? And does because Bulletproof typically doesn't have cinnamon in it, does it?
I like the way it tastes. Sometimes I add cayenne too. Like in the winter, I'll put I do cayenne and cinnamon.
Cinnamon and cayenne is really great Ayurvedic herbs anyways.
Yeah.
Good for the inflammation. That's personally why I do it. I like cocoa powder in mine too, or cacao powder.
Nice.
Throw that in there. Yeah.
I haven't tried that.
Yeah, mix it up. And I do my own too because the supplements, it gets a little expensive after a while.
Yeah, I was pretty hardcore bulletproof for like a year, and then I looked at it and I was like, oh, wow, I just spent a lot of money.
More than Starbucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, when you do it, because I was doing the glutathione and the D3 and the K12 and like that whole regime that he prescribes. I don't know. I didn't
No
notice
difference?
No.
What's the K3 and all that? Is it? That's for brain
Yeah.
cognitive kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. And then I did the On It Nootropic stack for a while. I didn't really notice a huge difference.
Yeah, sometimes I'll get some of Mike LaRocca. You can listen to his podcast, and he'll give me some nootropic stuff, and I didn't really see the difference. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I do notice a difference, like if I just drink a regular coffee versus bulletproof coffee, or if I eat breakfast versus have bulletproof coffee, I notice a huge difference in my day. But
yeah, why'd you start doing bulletproof?
I have always kind of struggled like with my weight, and for somebody, I mean, I don't know. I went to school for sport nutrition. I watch. I mean, pretty careful with what I eat. I'd lost like 100 pounds, and then I started to creep back up, and I couldn't figure out what was wrong. So I went to the endocrinologist, had all these tests run. They're like, no, you're fine. It's calories in versus calories out. And I'm like, no, it's not. Like, something's up.
Yeah.
And then, so I started doing my own research, and I came across the bulletproof stuff. So I thought I'd try it. I did the cookbook, I did the diet, I did the cleanse, I did all the stuff, and I kind of just stuck with the coffee. That was really, like, I liked the way it made me feel. I didn't notice a huge, like, weight loss or any of that stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, like it makes you feel full, or...
Yeah, like I'm sustained. I don't have that huge drop in energy that I used to get, after, and at one point in time, I mean, I was drinking like a pot and a half of coffee a day, and now it's just those 2 cups in the morning, and I'm pretty good throughout the day.
I've noticed I don't drink as much coffee when I do bulletproof instead. And I don't even like calling it bulletproof. It's kind of like branding it, but I do, the butter, and I do carry gold also, and it makes me fuller, and I think I get a little more out of the caffeine. I think it gives me a little bit of a caffeine bump. But I like that it has me full, and I don't think about eating for much longer. If I don't have it, I think about I want food earlier on.
Yeah, well, and it settles better on my stomach, because I usually teach an early morning, well, most days. 4 days a week, I teach an early morning either fitness or yoga class, and then it's really hard to teach on a full stomach. So it's nice for me to and not have super coffee bubbly guts, while I'm trying to teach a yoga class or a fitness class.
Yeah.
So it works for me.
Yeah. Since you did a couple of hand gestures, I'm going to just, because since we are on all audio, it keeps you a little more flat lines, like sustained without an energy drop. That was the flat line instead of you. And then the gurgly thing, he did this little stomach was like the intestines were. I call it the McGurgle. Yeah.
Nice.
Well, thanks for being here. I really appreciate you being on the show. We are in a gazebo outside of a boys and girls club. So if you randomly hear, you may hear it now, is trumpets or trombones or some sort of brass instruments going on in the background, and that's what's going on in the background in the big park. So if you hear a screaming kid every so often, that's what's up. So we're here with Zach, and what interests me to have you on the show is, for one, you listen to the show, and you've had great feedback on the show, and then the other day you said, well, I listened to Brandon's interview, and I think what you said something about, my life was a bit of a shit show, so...
I don't think that was about the podcast. I think that was when we were doing the training.
Oh, yeah, right.
All the coaches training, the summit.
Yeah.
And everybody was kind of telling their story, and I was like, yeah, well.
That's right. Yeah, it wasn't about. Yeah, we all introduced ourselves and where we've been, what we've done, and
everybody had this athletic pedigree, and I did not.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that. That's what do you what do you mean by that? Say a little more about that.
I mean,
your background and like.
I don't know. Growing up, I mean, when I was really little, my dad had converted our guest house into this old school 80s Texas bodybuilding weight room.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's just, those are some of my first memories. It's being out there with him as a little boy. I I had an apricot tree in the backyard with a hammock in it, and I would sit up there at like 4 and 5 years old and just read old 80s muscle and fitness magazines. I mean, that's, I guess where my interest started. Mm-hmm. Huge wrestling fan, so I was always like into just like that huge.
Like WWE wrestling?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Who's your favorite?
Sting before like he went goth. Like, remember when he had like the spiky hair and like the neon face paint? Mm-hmm. Like, that was my guy. I was into it.
My friends would stop everything that we were doing playing outside. They're like, WWE's on. We gotta go. And I was never into. I mean, I watched it, but I was never into that much of a fan that I would stop what I was doing to go and watch it. But tons of my friends were like, absolutely. And yeah, I'm a big Hulk Hogan fan. I love Hulk Hogan. I love Randy Savage. He was that's back in the day. Those are the guys that I dug.
Warrior.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I did that, and then I remember, like, on Saturday mornings, instead of cartoons, a lot of the times I watched, remember Denise Austin used to have her show?
Sounds familiar.
She was, like, the fitness...
She
had her show on Saturday mornings, and right after that it was, like, Corey Everett, the female bodybuilder.
Heck yeah,
and those two guys in Hawaii, and they would do, like, the workout show, and I used to do those shows on the weekends. I don't know, like, little kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. 7, 8, 9. Then puberty hit, and I turned into... Did you ever watch that show, King of the Hill? That's what I looked like growing up, was Bobby Hill. Like, I was as round as I was tall. Yeah.
Great visual.
That's what I looked like.
And they're Texas, right?
Yeah.
So Kermit, Texas?
Kermit, Texas is my hometown.
Did you go to Kermit High School?
I did.
Go Yellow Jackets, yeah.
How do you know that?
Told you I stalked you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. So, I grew up in a little bitty town. I was the youngest of 4. So by the time, I got away with nothing. And I don't know. I had one of my sisters was a cheerleader, softball player, huge jock. My brother, baseball player, football player. Really into it. I wasn't. I always was. I think they put me on the B team just so they didn't hurt my feelings, but I never really played. So by the time I got to high school, I was like, yeah, forget it. I'll get a job. So I've always worked. By the time I was a junior, I was pretty much only going to school for like 3 classes a day. I'd go to work at the bank from lunch to 5, and then I worked at Pizza Hut from 5 to close. And during the summers, during the day, I worked for the school, painting classrooms and parking lots and all that stuff. And then I'd go to work at Pizza Hut at night. So I've always been
entrepreneurial.
Well,
or hustling.
Yeah, I've always kind of been a hustler. I've always had a strong work ethic. So, yeah, I've never really been without a job. Ever.
Yeah, it's I got to do a double take when I hear of people not having to get a job until they're out of college. Like their first job is when they get out of college, even later than that. And I'm like, I was working like mowing lawns when, as long as I can remember.
Yeah, I mowed lawns too. Like I remember I had a lawnmower and a bungee cord that I could tie on my weed eater and my gas tank with it, and there I would just push. And I charged like $10 or $15 a yard. I mean, I'd work all day, making nothing.
Yeah. Me too. It was just enough cash to go to the movies or something like that.
Buy a surfboard or whatever I needed to do.
Yeah. I remember one time my dad, for a present, he got me a lawnmower. But there was I was already mowing lawns in the neighborhood. And my friend and I that I grew up with, we've known each other since we were 3. We come home, my dad's like, hey, I got you something. It's in the garage. Go check it out. And I'm stoked, right? Dad got me something, and it's in the garage. Yeah. Open it up, it's a damn lawnmower. My friends start laughing. Sucker. My dad says, well, now you two can both mow the lawn. Why don't you go use it? Thanks, Dad. Ass. Yeah. So, not not you, Dad. I mean, Bill, he's an ass.
Yeah.
So I read something that quoted yourself as, you never thought the chubby kid from Texas would be where you are today. So when somebody asks you what you do for a living, what do you say?
Hard. I mean, I'm a coach. I'm a yoga teacher. I'm a teacher of teachers. Spend a lot of time helping teachers just like figure out their Google Calendar so they're not living their lives in their car.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm a studio manager. I do teacher trainings. I teach anatomy for yoga teacher training all over the country. I mean, I don't know. I do a lot of things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I I always find that curious too when I ask people like what they do, if they would be asked, well, what's your job, and we say, oh, we just do this, or we just do that,
Yeah.
but you are a major impact, I'm going to assume, on the people that surround you, especially with these teachers that are up and coming or teaching your classes. I mean, running a studio, being a manager of a studio is no small task. It's like, you're pretty much on call 24/7, have to cover classes, have to make the schedule, have to decide what they're going to do in class. Like you said, you build the classes up and then you pass them along. All
Right.
that stuff is not just anything. I totally get it because I've been there. And so what would you say is a myth of being a studio manager or an owner or something like that of a fitness studio? What's a myth?
Are you going to make a lot of money?
That's the number one myth. So you're saying you don't do it for the money?
No, not at all. That's why I have to do have multiple streams of income.
Yeah.
That and I don't know. I meet teachers or meet people that are like, oh, I can't wait to own a studio so I can teach when I want, or I only want to do this. And I think what they don't realize is that when you hold that space, it's no longer about you and what you want anymore, right? It's about serving the needs of whoever walks through your door and meeting them where they are. And 9 times out of 10, you have to course correct.
Yeah.
You might have this whole beautiful thing planned out, this amazing class you're going to teach, and 4 people walk in your class that have, a rotator cuff injury or, knee issue or, whatever it is that day, and your plan is gone.
Yeah.
And I think you really have to know how to think on your feet when it comes to that. Another thing is being in this purist world. Something that I'm seeing shift now recently, but coming up in the yoga world and in Encinitas, Southern California, there's a lot of purist thought of, a lot of people never really understood why I was doing what I was doing or what I was doing. They didn't understand how I could, teach a yoga class, go to CrossFit, jump on my bike, ride 100 miles, and then go to a meditation workshop. They're like, you can't, that's not right. In fact, my first yoga teacher training, one of the women that was facilitating it told me I would never be a successful yoga teacher because I lifted and I was too big, that I couldn't do the poses and I didn't have the look.
The look.
Yeah.
The poses, one thing, if you don't have the range of motion or your
Right.
injury or something, that could kind of be legitimate if there was a legitimate, thing. But the look.
The look.
That's so
I was like, all right. I'm glad I just gave you $3,000.
Yeah. This is at a teacher training that you're obviously learning from to go and do and teach, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
So,
and you mean by the purist, if of a yoga person, this is all I do is I do yoga, or CrossFit, this is all I do is CrossFit, or
You're right.
I'm a biker, this is all I do is I bike. Yeah.
Yeah, the concept of cross training for a lot of specialty athletes is it's not there, which is really strange to me. For me, movement is movement, and do what feels good in your body. But if you haven't tried other forms, don't knock it.
Yeah, don't poo-poo stuff. Yeah.
But I'm starting to see a shift in that. Maybe it's just because I've changed the circle of people I hang out with, or the places I go. But my news feed, I'm starting to see a lot of people come around to like, oh well, maybe we do need to throw a fitness class in this yoga studio every once in a while, or maybe, I don't know, we do need to put all of this fitness into functional fitness to use and like hike or like backpack or ride bikes or do something else other than just like functional fitness.
Right. Functional. A friend of mine sent me his post a little while back. Oh no, I know it was. Yeah. It was Sears. What's his name?
J.P. Sears.
J.P. Sears. He did a funny blog post. I'll put that in the show notes about the functional training that we're not. We're doing functional training to do functional training. We have one step going into our office. We're not climbing stairs.
Right.
These burpees are. And you see the funny thing. He's like, yeah, we're getting really good at kettlebells to be really good at kettlebells.
I see it all the time. Or it's like, you go, like I step in and I'll do like this, or somebody will come to my class and they'll be like, well, I do this functional fitness or this CrossFit class or whatever where, they label everything as functional, but they can't touch their toes. I'm like, they're your fucking toes. Like, you should be able to touch them. Yeah. It just blows my mind.
Yeah.
Or...
So why do you do? What's your why? Why do you do what you do if it's obviously not for the money and the fame? You didn't say fame. I just threw that in
there. There's these I don't know. I really like to see people grow and facilitate that space, and I love the aha moments.
Say more about the aha moment. What do you mean by
that? Just when that light comes on, when someone gets it. When they are able to finally touch their toes, or hit the bottom of a squat, or lunge for their first time without pain, or tipping over. That's huge. Or can make it through a whole class without having to sit down or go outside or whatever. Whatever it is, or just tracking progress. I love tracking people's progress, and I mean that's part of I guess the discipline in the yoga that I love so much. I mean, there was a time where I was all about, the arm balances and the Instagram shit. It's true, you get wrapped up in that. And the fancy sequencing and all of that, but I'm kind of at a place right now where I really like teaching hard set sequences so I can track progress.
What does that mean for those of us who don't know? I've taken yoga and done yoga a ton, but what's a hard set sequence?
A set sequence is basically every time you take this class, it's going to be the same every time. With progressions and regressions, it's the fundamentals. Once you learn the fundamentals, then you can grow on top of that to more advanced poses, so it doesn't get boring. A lot of people tend to skip that fundamentals part and want to get straight into the social media yoga, which is really interesting because this is a really big vinyasa community here. In vinyasa, you don't really hold poses that long, and this new style of yoga that I've started to teach comes from Bikram and Modo, kind of fused together, which is you hold poses for quite a long time, and there's not a lot of flow, and it's you move from one pose to the next, and it's the cueing is very strict. It's all about muscular engagement rather than that organic energy flow, and it's interesting how hard it is for someone who has been doing vinyasa only for a few times because they're not used to holding Warrior 2 for 30, 45 seconds. It's usually 2 breaths and then we're out. And they have an out because they can always flow and move to the next one. So being able to build this strength in people's end range of motion, I think is huge, especially for longevity of practice. Something that I've studied for the last few years. with a lady named Jules Mitchell. I don't know if you've ever heard of her, but she's amazing. And yeah.
What's the benefit of training the end range of muscle, the strength and the end range of the movement? Like, I'm going to do links to all this because it's a little lingoey, and even I'm like, all right, I got to go back.
Yeah.
So what's the benefit of holding and not flowing into the, not having the flow, but being strong in the end range?
Well, I think it prevents injury. It gives you, I think, longevity in your practice. Being strong in those poses. I mean, a lot of people say that they don't do yoga anymore because they tore their hamstring, or they,
I hear that all the time. It's like, what the hell? It's like frozen shoulders, all kinds of crazy stuff from downward dog and whatnot.
Because they don't necessarily know how to engage their muscles in those poses.
Because because they're going too fast, because the flow is
a lot of times they're going too fast, or whoever's been teaching them hasn't ever given them a correction, or maybe they have gotten the correction, they just didn't pay attention because they didn't want to take a step back. There's a lot of ego in yoga. I know that there's not supposed to be, but there is.
That's why I don't take group classes, because this guy over here has got a lot of ego in yoga. And if I'm in a group class, man, I got to shine. Like the teacher's got to come over to me and be like, "Wow, you're pretty flexible for a big guy. Well, let's see what else you can do." So I get wrapped up in that, and I walk out more hurt than anything. So I'm better off small group or one-on-one or something like that.
Yeah, so I mean, and it's hard, when you have some of these teachers, and I'm one, like, I feed off energy. There's nothing I like more than teaching to a packed room, but, when you have 30, 40, 80 people in a room, and it's a shit show. There's no way around it. There's no way you can keep everyone 100% safe.
Yeah.
I mean, you do the best you can, and but...
what's your thoughts on that? How is that compare to having a smaller class and having everybody, for one, safe and learning the proper techniques and be able to cue them and adjust them and stuff like that, as opposed to the big room with a lot of energy? And I've done both, and I've taught both, and I've got my opinions on both. What do you?
I mean, I don't know. I was a one-on-one personal trainer and did in-home private yoga for a few years, and that was the most boring job in the world for me. I felt like I just stood there and counted a lot.
Yeah.
And I'm just not into it. I love huge group classes. I like the energy. I like to feed off that energy. I like really loud music and lights, and I mean that's my jam. So
it's like it's the energy, it's the feedback you get, because it does definitely have a different vibe to it. I mean, one person's energy, I mean, everybody knows that we're all full of energy, so one person's energy is not going to be as much as 80 people, definitely. I get off on that. I love doing big workshops and seminars, 150, 200 people, teach them all one move. That's badass.
Yeah, well, I mean, and so you teach in stages and you teach progressions.
Yeah.
And you try not to get too fancy or too complicated. And, I mean, it's really a magical thing, like when you just have that cohesive pulse and everyone is breathing together and moving together, and, like, you can just feel the walls pulse.
Yeah.
I don't know, you don't get that in someone's living room in a kettlebell. You just...
Not the same thing. Yeah. What was if you take us back to Kermit, Texas, what was a deciding moment for you that had you go, this is not where I want to end up necessarily? Need to, get out, grow, do something different.
Well, my parents divorced me when I was like 5, maybe 6. They were both remarried within a year. I've had the same step-parents pretty much my whole life. All of our kids were raised together. But my dad moved to Corpus Christi, which was, big city compared to Kermit, Texas. So I would split time. I would be, a couple years with him and a couple years with my mom, and I was always back and forth. So I saw like city and beach and different things. So I couldn't get out fast enough. The day I graduated high school, I had my car packed. I left the next morning, was in my own apartment, already had 2 jobs lined up. I was gone. It was only 80 miles away, but I was still gone. And at that time, I wanted to be in the restaurant world or the hospitality world. I thought it was so cool. Waiting tables and bartending and all. I mean, the money is there. It's fun. It's fast paced. Then I got really involved in the wine. Back when, the height of the wine craze, when Silver Oaks and Screaming Eagles and $200-$300 bottles of wine was all the rage. Got really involved in that. Spent a lot of time reading and studying and taking seminars and teaching wait staffs and doing sales for that. And looked up one day and I was like smoking, 2-3 packs of Marlboro Lights a day. I usually had my first drink somewhere around 8:39 in the morning, and my last drink at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Weighed about 300 pounds. Yeah.
What are you, 5'9"?
5'8".
5'8"? All right.
I thought I was 5'10" until about a year ago. I had a new doctor. She said, "You really been telling people that your whole life?" I was like, "Well, yeah." She was like, "Did you say that on your driver's license?" It's like, "Well, yeah." She was like, "Well, you're a liar. You're 5'8" on a good day."
Oh, that's funny. It's 5'8", 300 pounds.
Yeah.
Looked up.
And I was just done. That was about right when I turned 30. So I quit drinking for a while, quit smoking, and started yoga. Hot yoga. I was living downtown in Encinitas. I thought yoga was like, soccer mom stretching class.
Totally, yeah.
But I was bartending across the street from this hot yoga studio, and people just kept walking. Gorgeous people walking out all day long.
Yoga tropics.
Sweat, yeah. And just happy.
Yeah.
So happy. And I was like, well, I want some. So I walked in one day. I had no idea. Wore heavy gym shorts, super thick cotton t-shirt. Had a beach towel. I was like, I don't need a mat. Like, yeah, you do. Well, I'll loan you one. And I don't know, about 15 minutes into class, I sat down and I was like, what the fuck? And it's like, this can't be true. I'm a pretty tough guy. These moms are just killing me. So, I went back the next day, the next day, the next day, and next thing you know, I'm in yoga teacher training. I went online, did my online personal training certification, was about to finish yoga teacher training and take my test for personal training kind of in the same week, and I went to work one day, and they were like, "So this is our last day to be open. You can get your checks tomorrow at Starbucks." But we sold and we're out.
The bar.
Yeah. I was like,
shit, what bar was it?
It's called Barracuda. It was right there by Whole Foods.
Yeah, yeah. Now it's the beer garden.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh.
I was in there once.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was like, awesome. Good stuff. So I was like, well, do I get another job that I hate, or do I kind of ride this wave? So I looked on Craigslist and I answered an ad to work at the front desk at the Gym Del Mar. 5 a.m. to 9 or whatever. I was back in community college to get a Kinesics degree, and I was like, okay, well, perfect. So I started working the desk. Then I started personal training there once I finished and got everything, and then their yoga teacher got sick. Their early morning yoga teacher got sick. I was like, well, raised my hand, and I started teaching yoga there. Within a month, the classes had doubled. in size. So people were into it. I was teaching a little bit of yoga tropics, and then I was doing my second teacher training. The guy here in town, Ashton Zabo, we actually did a module right here in this gazebo. That's where I met Jules Mitchell and a couple of other people that I study with. And he had started working at Yoga 6, and he was like, well, why don't you come on over here and take one of these classes? I was like, I don't know. Like, it's really fancy there. They have padded floors, clean bathrooms. Yeah. Like, people take showers after class. Like, yeah. I don't know. So finally, one of their managers sent me a message on Facebook. She owns a studio in Del Mar now. Laura Heiner owns Inhale. She was like, just come. I was like, okay. So I came, and I was like, oh, padded floor, that's nice on my knees. Like, I could probably do this. So I started taking some classes there, and then I met their yoga director, Katie Brower. I was volunteering for Yoga Rocks the Park. And she was headlining. I was hanging up posters for them, just kind of volunteering, doing my thing, and met her. And she sent me an email a couple days later. She was like, you want some classes? Like, we're developing this yoga fitness program. Like, just go in there, do whatever, figure it out. Like, okay. And then we worked together. We developed their boot camp class, their fitness class to complement all the vinyasa yoga
at Yoga 6.
At Yoga 6. I got promoted to a program manager, and then I basically went on tour with her and Danny Argetti, and I helped them open their Chicago locations, Columbus locations, did some work in St. Louis for them, and then came back here. Ended up managing their busiest studio at the Forum in Carlsbad for a couple of years, about a year and a half. And then did some teacher training, assisted in teacher training, did some anatomy modules for them, learned a ton. I mean, I don't know if you know Katie, but she's amazing. Mm-hmm. She's really good at pushing you out of your comfort zone and making you own up to your bullshit. Helped me a lot.
I don't like her already.
Yeah. I don't know. She has this weird ability to be able to look at you and ask you the most unnerving question, like, right off the bat. It's the weirdest thing. But it works. I grew a lot working for her and under her.
What moves you about her and that ability for her to do that?
I have a hard time with excuses. And with her, there's no excuses, and there's nowhere to hide. And, she forces you to own up to your shit and take responsibility for your part. You know, there's no placing blame. With that, you really have to, your situation's your situation. It's no one else's. So you really kind of have to buck up.
So she brings that out. Like, if you have in particular time, was it the first time you, like, took a class with her? Or, like, how this kind of...
The first class I took with her was the most bizarre thing. It was at Yoga Rocks the Park. It was Stagecoach Park in Encinitas. And she had a DJ, and it was outside. It was Sunday morning, sunshine. It was beautiful. And we started doing this yoga class, and then all of a sudden she just stopped. And she made everybody roll their mat up, find a partner, and we did this, like, hand on top of hand, 3-minute eye gaze with a complete stranger. Okay. And then I think there was, like, a Michael Jackson dance party. And then it got really hot, so we did a zombie walk into the shade and did, like, a 30-minute meditation. Yeah.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was hooked. It's like, give me more of whatever that she's drinking. I want it.
Yeah.
I don't know if you for those of you who don't know her, I mean, she's this foul-mouthed Australian. She was a professional snowboarder. I don't know. She's amazing.
And that gazing into someone else's eyes for 3 minutes is not a typical thing that we ever do, especially if you're like male to male. If you're staring at another guy for 3 minutes, like you're blowing, you're like you're gonna throw some blows or something. Like there's gonna be an argument going on.
Especially when you're like holding hands.
Yeah, exactly. It's like it's not a typical thing to do, and I've done something similar to that, and it's a whole different, like you can see into somebody's soul, if you're really with them. Yeah.
Well, and to be able to hold space for that many people to do that, and for everyone to feel safe and supported, I thought, what an amazing quality of a person. Right? Like, and what opportunity do you have in life to have 100, 200, I don't even know how many people were there that day. There was a lot. Probably at least 100. Just stop everything and have them all, no questions asked, participate in this, 3-minute eye gaze.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think? What's the qualities of a person that is able to do that? Is it just innately, or is it just her caringness?
I mean, I think some of it is innate. Also, I think, she's spent a lot of time working on the inside.
Yeah.
And there's a confidence that comes with that. An ability to sense energy and know when it's appropriate to do something like that.
Yeah.
You take the risk.
Yeah.
Roll the dice. See what happens.
Did you get that training from her? Did you get some of that? I know you said you went on tour with her.
Well, yeah. I spent a lot of time. One of the funniest stories she tells about me is we're in the birth of this company where, we were the fastest growing boutique fitness studio in the country for that year. And I get off the plane at O'Hare and I'm like, take me to the Hilton and South Loop. And the cab driver was like, you mean the Holiday Inn? It's like, yeah, that one. Whatever.
Yeah.
And I get there, we're sharing a hotel room, so we get to spend a lot of time together. We went through, hundreds of teachers to open these locations. Working with them down in the convention center, teaching them our style. And if you've taught fitness or yoga,
what did it take? What did you do? I know it's not. I mean, a freaking 100 pounds, dude. That's got to.
It's like a person.
You got to put some sort of structure in place or something. Like, what the hell? You glazed over that, so I'm just going to back up and kind of tease that out a little bit.
Well,
do you have somebody to lean on? To like, look, this is what I'm doing. You got to keep me accountable. Like, what the heck?
No, not really. I mean, I just moved to Southern California from Texas. I moved out here with a friend of mine.
And you stopped smoking.
I stopped smoking, and I stopped drinking all day, too.
Yeah. So drinking, smoking, lost weight, okay.
I wasn't drunk eating in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
And that always helps. And my friend moved back to Texas. And so I was kind of out here. I didn't really know many people. I had sold my car before I moved out here. I was walking, I was riding a bike. I'd get up in the morning, I would go lift. I would take a hot yoga class, maybe 2. I would bartend in the evenings, and then I would probably usually lift again at night. I mean, that's all I did. Mm-hmm. That was my life for a long time, and I would go to school, and I was just immersed in nutrition and exercise.
Did you take on any kind of certain nutrition plan or anything like that?
Yeah,
you did it all yourself, or?
Yeah, I've tried a couple of different things. I went paleo for a while. I'm still pretty low carb now. I did the bulletproof thing for a while. I haven't gone full vegan yet. I do eat a lot less meat than I did when I was in Texas, naturally.
Yeah. Portions are probably smaller too.
Yeah, vegetables don't taste like cardboard here.
Yeah.
So, I was like, wow, this is what a strawberry really tastes like. Interesting. I don't know, California, you just really eat different.
Yeah.
And I feel like the lifestyle lends itself to a lot of just natural movement, lots of walking and bike riding and all the things that you don't do when it's, 120 degrees outside or so cold you don't go outside.
Yeah. Is there anything that you can point to in particular that would have you make that kind of success? Because I see people in Encinitas overweight and smoking and drinking and not, doing their thing. So
I don't know. I just woke up one day and I said I was done.
Yeah.
I just changed my mind. Changed my life. I had a choice.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I made one.
I dig it. Some people have to have an emergency, thing where they have a heart problem or something like that to be able to do it. But waking up, I had the realization that I'm not going to die from a disease like a lot of my family members have had cancer or something like that. I'm like, I'm not going out like that. So that's why I changed my ways. You just woke up and you're like, okay, this is not who I am, and I'm changing the shit.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I always said that I came to California to change.
Yeah.
And I looked up a year and a half later, and I hadn't really changed.
Yeah.
I just changed locations. I was still kind of a party animal, scumbag, and I hit 30, and I was like, well, is this really who I want to be? And I decided, no, it's not.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a daily struggle. There's lots of times where I'm like, no, I don't want to teach 4 fitness classes today and still do my workout and still go home and cook dinner and feed my kid and, do all of these things that I have to do. I'd much rather, go to the saloon at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, pump $4 in the jukebox and, have a good time. That's not my reality anymore. It's just not.
Parting words. What would you, if you had able to write something in the sky or a billboard or have it in a manual for a life manual for people, what would it be?
Oh, what do I know?
Yeah.
No, I feel like there's room for all of us. Like, let your freak flag fly. Whatever it is.
You say freak flag
fly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let your freak flag fly.
Yeah, there is someone to love you. It doesn't matter how weird you are.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, where can the people find you if they want to get all of you? Where can you be found?
Facebook. You can look me up, Zac Armstrong. Instagram, a strong Zac. You can email me at info@zacarmstrong.com. My website is zacarmstrong.info. Edge San Marcos. You can find me teaching some kind of crazy fitness class or yoga class pretty much daily. I have some videos, at least about a video a month on Studio Sweat on demand, yoga and stretching mobility videos. And that's pretty much where I'm at right now.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
Well, you do a tremendous amount, and I really want to thank you for being on the show and taking this time to do that. I really appreciate you and your drive, and you are a yes to things. You've been in a ton of my classes, workshops, and we've done certifications together, and we did the summit together and stuff like that. And I really dig that you do let your freak flag fly. I appreciate that about you. I wasn't quite sure what to call it, but now I know. Yeah, it's the freak flag. Yeah. I like that, and I really
show up with my black toenails and my short shorts.
Yeah. And I appreciate you. Thanks. Yeah,
appreciate you too.
Thank you. Thanks. And for everybody out there, all the things that I can find links to, there will be linkable links on the website, robertbudd.net. And until next time, let your freak flag fly. I just got to add this part. There is still hope in this society. Check this out. These kids were so cool.
Oh.
That's great. What's that stressful?
You guys recording something for a show?
Yeah, I have a podcast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
You didn't get us in the background, did you?
Yeah, a little bit, but that's all right. We knew there was going to be background noise. You guys are good. Yeah. We had a whole conversation with these kiddos in the background. We were in a gazebo, and they were being a little noisy. I had to cut some parts out because they had a little bit of background noise and couldn't actually hear Zach talking. So I foresee a number 2 with Zach, a follow-up conversation. For one thing, he said when we shut off the recording is he thought I would go a little deeper and get a little more personal. So I think that's an invitation to do so, and I'll probably have a follow-up with Zach in a few episodes. But these kids were really cool. They chatted with us for a while, told us about whatever they're up to, and apologized for being noisy if they were noisy. Super cool. You know, I've got this. If you've been listening to the show for a while, I've got this thing going on about millennials and respect and all this kind of complaint that it's very unwarranted, but I still got it anyways. I'm sure I'm not the only one. Maybe I am. I've got these unwarranted complaints. Oh, crotchety. These damn kids these days. Anyways, they're really cool. I just want to add that. One more thing before you go is this: if you would like to get a short email from me once a month, and I put in these emails just some random stuff that I dig up that inspires me, whether it's a YouTube video of Jim Carrey or things on what I'm eating, diet, different things on fasting, whatever kind of research and different things that I dig up during the month. I send that out. I share it with those who are interested. And if you'd like to get that, go to my website, robertbudd.net. And if you go to where you can drop in your email where it says this is not a newsletter, put your email in there and you'll get the very next one. Also, one more thing. I lied. There is one more thing. If you like the show, please share it with your friends and family. Also, if you would go and subscribe, it really helps the rating of the show and helps us get found. And I really appreciate it. And that's how I see if you guys like it. It shows the love. All right. Besides that, take care. And until next time, let your freak flag fly.